Hello and welcome to another Tri-tutors video. In today's video we're going to be analysing the poem Let Me Not the Marriage of True Minds, otherwise known as Sonnet 116. So firstly, a little bit about our poet. It's always important to know some context for our poet so that we can understand the context of the poem in greater detail. So William Shakespeare, he's the most famous English writer who's ever lived. He lived between 1564 and 1616, so mainly during the Elizabethan era, and he wrote 154 sonnets and 37 plays. So we are just going to be studying one of the sonnets that he wrote today, and it's one of the more famous ones actually. Let me not the marriage of true minds admit impediments. Love is not love which alters when it alteration finds, or bends with the remover to remove. Oh no, it is an ever fixed mark that looks on tempest and is never shaken. It is the star to every wandering bark, whose worth unknown, although his height be taken. Love's not time's fool, though rosy lips and cheeks with his bending sickle's compass come. Love alters not with his brief hours and weeks, but bears it out even to the edge of doom. If this be error and upon me proved, I never writ, nor no man ever loved. So I'm sure you've heard parts of this poem before. It's quite a famous one, as I said. So let's start by analysing. Let me not the marriage of true minds. So we start off with almost a vow, and we also start off with a verb. And so this shows a sense of assertiveness, and because the speaker is sort of taking command and starting with this verb, starting with this vow, he's very sort of clear on what he believes about love and what he's going to communicate to the audience or to the readers. And so just to give you context, we're going to talk about this more in detail afterwards in terms of, the structure, the form, the theme, and the message. But let's just quickly understand that one of the main messages of this poem is that love is eternal and that it goes on no matter what happens. So even if your beloved does something that you don't agree with or that you don't like, it does not mean that your love goes away, that true love goes on forever, it's everlasting, it's eternal. So just keep that in mind, that message of the poem as we go through, and we're going to see how Shakespeare uses different imagery, different poetic devices, different figures of speech to really emphasize that message and to communicate that message and convey it with clarity and with intensity. So he says, let me not the marriage of true minds. He says he cannot acknowledge any reason why two people or two minds that truly love each other shouldn't be together. And so the use of the word marriage is actually used more metaphorically here as a sort of joining together. And the use of true minds, we can see that minds is an example of synecdoche. A synecdoche is when a part represents a whole. And so here it's synecdoche because minds, it's not actually talking about the joining together of two minds, it's talking about the joining together of two people. But by emphasizing the mind, it's showing us that love is not just physical, that it is about this mental connection as well. And we also notice the alliteration of the M sound, the long M sound, marriage of true minds. Admit impediments. So as you can see from line 1 to line 2, there is enjambment. And there's going to be a couple of examples of enjambment in the poem. And this particular enjambment is actually going to show us or emphasize that love is everlasting, that it continues on, it does not change. So that emphasizes that message that love is everlasting through that enjambment. Admit impediments. So he says that true love is not going to undergo any sort of obstacles, or it will overcome any obstacles. It will not admit them or confess them. We notice the assonance over here with a repeated I sound in admit impediments. And then we have this full stop in the middle of the line, and this is called caesura. This full stop in the middle of the line, it's quite unnatural, right? It's quite shocking to see. And what it does is it really slows the pace down so that the reader takes note of what is being said. It also serves to reinforce how true love is going to overcome any sort of obstacles. So it sort of acts as an obstacle, that full stop in the middle of the line, and says that if love is true and honest, then it should actually overcome that. Love is not love, which alters when it alteration finds. So notice the enjambment once again. And here the speaker says that love is not really love if it changes when it sees anything else change, when it sees the beloved change, or when it disappears. So he says if one person in the relationship sees a change in the other person, sees something that's been altered, even though that alteration has been found, the love itself does not alter, the love itself does not change. If the one person in the relationship has moved away or is not with the beloved at a certain point, that does not mean that the love ever stops, right? That the love continues. The love is not removed just because one of the beloveds is perhaps removed. And as we're going to see later on, he's even going to argue that even if one of the people in the relationship has died, that love is still going to be everlasting. So no matter where the person is, you still love them, no matter what differences or alterations they've undergone or changes, the love is still everlasting. So in these lines, we see that love is being personified in some way, that it's able to change, it's able to bend. And so this really emphasizes the power of love, because whenever you personify a concept or a thing, you are giving it these human qualities, right? And you're giving it a sense of power. And the enjambment, as we said, really emphasizes how love is continuous. So now let's move to the next quatrain. Oh no, it is an ever fixed mark. So, oh no, that exclamation mark really emphasizes how passionate and sincere the speaker is. He says it is an ever fixed mark. So, ever fixed meaning it's lasting forever, it's constant, it's unchanging. And the use of the word mark, think about what a mark is. A mark leaves an impact, right? And a mark can be good or bad, right? So that's an interesting one. It can refer to something positive or negative, but a mark is something that stays there forever and it's ever fixed. So not only is a mark there usually for a long time, but it's the fact that it's ever fixed really emphasizes the permanence of love. And we can also see that the mark could refer to a lighthouse or a star that a ship uses in order to navigate. And we're going to get more into that metaphor and that imagery in the next couple of lines. And he says, it's an ever fixed mark that looks on tempests and is never shaken. So once again, love is personified. It's able to look upon a tempest. A tempest is a storm, and the tempest can symbolize a sense of trouble or a period of distress in the relationship, right? Maybe this love has undergone some sort of trouble or distress or problems, but he says that true love is able to withstand that tempest and is never shaken. So it's never truly shaken by the tempest. Even when you go through hard times, the love stays constant. It is the star to every wandering bark. So he says this now, we're using a metaphor, we're using imagery. He's saying that love is a star, which could be seen as two things. First, we can see a star as a symbol of light and hope, but also we can see a star as a navigation tool. It gives direction and it guides sailors to shore. So star sort of gives us the use of this metaphor of a star shows us how it is something like really good, but also something of a lifeline that gives direction and purpose to life. To every wandering bark, a bark is a boat or a ship. So like a star, it guides a ship. So love guides life. Whose worth's unknown, although it's high to be taken. So this is quite an interesting line because it seems to be a paradox, because you're saying whose worth's unknown, meaning that it's priceless and immeasurable, that love is priceless and immeasurable, and yet it says, but you can take one measurement, which is height. So it seems like a little bit of a contradiction. And so what this can show us is that love is truly priceless and immeasurable, but it can be measured in certain ways. Perhaps it can be measured through time or through actions. So it seems contradictory, but if you think about it, love is truly something sort of indescribable and priceless, yet you can show your love in certain ways. So some aspects of it can be measured, maybe the length of time, maybe how you act in that relationship or how you act towards your partner. Love's not time's fool. So over here we have personified love and time, and you can see that it's been capitalized to really emphasize that, and it's showing the power of time and the power of love. And he's basically saying that love is everlasting in this particular quatrain, right? We're on the third quatrain now. He's really emphasizing how love even outlasts time. So he's really adding on and really trying to emphasize and intensify his argument that love is truly everlasting. So he says, though rosy lips and cheeks with his bending sickle's compass come. So he says, even though time can destroy, right? Because time is indicative of death and decay. Over time, things die, things decay. So rosy lips and cheeks, which are symbols of love and desire, he says that these things will fade over time, because with his bending sickle's compass come. A sickle is a symbol of death, right? Of the figure of death. Or in this case, it's saying that time is wielding this sickle. But what he's going to say is that these rosy lips and cheeks, these symbols of love and desire, love does not really depend on this, or true love does not really depend on this. So even if it fades, one's love should still be manifested, right? Should still continue to be going on. So time is incredibly powerful, as shown by the personification, right? It's able to, destroy rosy lips and cheeks. It's able to cause decay. It's able to remove things. Yet love is sort of even stronger than time because it is able to actually even outlast time and outlast death, even because it's not reliant on rosy lips and cheeks. That love is deeper than that. Love alters not with his brief hours and weeks, so love is not bound by the passage of time. So even death cannot stop love from continuity. It may kill a person, but the love moves on, the love continues on. And then he continues and he says, but bears it out even to the edge of doom. And so this is really a line that intensifies the previous line. And so this is idea of love being resilient, that it bears it out. And we have that assonance, of even to the edge of doom. We have the repetition of that E sound. And it really emphasizes sort of the extent to which love will go, right? And it will even go to the edge of doom. Only until sort of utter catastrophe, when the world sort of ends and there's the day of doom, then actually love will die. So really, love is truly everlasting. And then finally we get the rhyming couplet. If this be error and upon me proved, I never writ nor no man ever loved. And essentially the speaker says, if I'm wrong about this and can be proven wrong, I never wrote and no man ever loved. So this rhyming couplet provides a little bit of a twist. It's quite hyperbolic, it's exaggerating, and it reinforces the argument in a very effective way. It's quite a sort of arrogant or assertive, very adamant conclusion, because the speaker is basically saying that what he said is true unless he's never written anything and no man has ever loved. And obviously those two things are fundamentally untrue, right? Obviously he has written many things, and obviously men have loved in their lives, and so therefore he's providing this unequivocal conclusion that what he's saying about love being everlasting is 100% true. So that's definitely going to help us pin down what the tone of this poem is, because it's going to be very adamant and very assertive. So in terms of the structure and form, as we said, this is a Shakespearean sonnet. It's made up of 14 lines. It's got 3 quatrains, which develop the stance, and then a rhyming couplet, which provides a twist. It's written in iambic pentameter, which is lines of 10 syllables of 5 iambic feet, and so you alternate between an unstressed syllable and a stressed syllable. So that's the meter of the poem. And iambic pentameter tends to mimic everyday conversational language. The rhyme scheme of the poem is A, B, A, B, C, D, C, D, E, F, E, F, and then G, G for the rhyming couplets. And the sonnet form here is really quite effective because it allows for a cohesive and convincing argument about love to be established. So in quatrain 1, the first group of 4 lines, we have this idea that love is unchanging and everlasting and that it conquers all. In quatrain 2, the speaker expands on what love is. Quatrain 3, he talks about what love is not. And the rhyming couplet, he reaffirms his argument that love is everlasting and conquers all. And he's given all his reasoning, and now he just provides the final statement. And so the structure of the poem really reinforces the dependability and rigidity of love, and that it continues forever. The enjambment keeps the flow, and it emphasizes the theme of love is everlasting, and the caesura really shows that love overcomes any obstacle. And he's a very idealistic poem because he's basically saying if love has any faults, then love has never existed, and that love is truly sort of constant in every single way, shape, and form. The theme or message of the poem is that love is everlasting, it's eternal, and it's absolute. It's unchanging. There's a mood of certainty and a tone of sincerity. It's an impassioned tone, passionate tone, authentic, adamant, assertive. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you found this video helpful. Please remember to like the video and to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.